Hi, welcome back to our channel. Today I want to talk about what's happening with the product marketing profession in Silicon Valley. I have been, for the most part, a product marketer in the Valley much before I started my journey in pricing. And even I started to feel some of this even when I left the profession around 2022, but I definitely feel it a lot more now. I think I'm just going to come out and say it. Product marketing as a profession is dying. When I started at a product marketer, I started at a company called Medallia. We were an enterprise software startup. We had large global 2000 Fortune 500 customers. We had to really understand the nuances of what was happening in these industries, and we had to enable a large field sales team to understand those nuances and also make them talk track ready, make them positioning ready. We had to make sure that the positioning aligned with company perspective. Then we had to help the sales team in targeting, in finding the named accounts, and then positioning and packaging all of the features and functionality that we sold. And positioning was a large amount of the work that we did at that company. Other work such as updating website copy, one pagers, that was there, but it was not the major thing. It was really positioning, making sure that we don't talk features, we talk benefits, we talk solutions, we talk outcomes. Somewhere along the line, what started to happen was this trend called consumerization of IT. And with consumerization of IT, deal value started to fall. Most of the sales team in the Valley were kids who were just out of college. These were not honed enterprise sellers. And same thing happened to the product marketing profession. Instead of a strategic PMM, you had this person now who was mostly responsible for maybe updating the competitive deck or maybe updating the website. And even in updating the competitive deck, there were new solutions such as Clue that came out that you at that point didn't need a product marketer for. And I remember having these conversations with my team members who said, "Hey, we want to invest in this tool." I'm like, "Sure, but then what will you do? You're paying you $150,000+ a year, maybe more. And if you're going to get Clue, what is your contribution to this whole process?" So now product marketing, what product marketers never took into account was the function of pricing. We always thought, or not me, but most people always thought pricing was this dark art. You had to do a lot of data analysis. And funny enough, product marketers never really cared to go too much deep into the economics of the business. What is the ARR, NRR, CAC? How is this computed? How is this going to be presented to the board? How are the salespeople selling the solution? How is the packaging working? How is the price realization happening? Product marketing has full business in understanding this so that whatever positioning it creates becomes packaging, and that gets realized at the end through monetization. But for some reason, product marketers never cared about this, and they thought, okay, maybe some external consultant will solve this problem. And as a profession, I felt like product marketing has completely washed its hands of the thing that it should have been doing. Now comes AI. AI does all your copywriting. AI does a lot of the deck making. AI does competitive analysis. There's nothing left for you to do. If you were doing your job as a tactical product marketer, those jobs are gone. A company that hired 4 to 5 PMMs earlier would only hire maybe one person now, and they better be good. They better have the sales team's ear. They better understand customers. The other thing they better be good at is the economics of the business. Now is the time for you to not have blinders on about pricing. Learn about pricing. Pricing is not that complicated, and mostly people are stay away from that because for some reason in America, people are afraid of math. Why is that? And when I started doing this job, I'm like, everybody else seems to be afraid of math, but this is easy. People are afraid of doing a pivot table. Is it that hard? So my advice to PMMs is become a more holistic professional, get closer to the customer, get closer to the sales team because it is a really human role at the end of the day, and be closer to the economics of the business. Get pricing in your hands, go deep with it, understand how it's working, and get the authority to actually change pricing structures and models and tweak them. That's really where product marketing goes from being this intangible role to a tangible role that drives top line and bottom line results. I am saying this as a pricing consultant, having been a product marketer. All of my incentive is there to say that you should hire me first. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you should be knowledgeable enough to see that this even drives impact. Then you can consider whether you want to bring a consultant in or not. But you need to start to own this functionality, start to own other pieces that you've been away from, because for good or for worse, the tactical, repetitive part of product marketing has now been completely automated. Nobody's going to be hired to be doing that. There are thousands and thousands of people who join places like Product Marketing Alliance. The conversations are very tactical. What role are these people going to do now? The writing is on the wall. I hope you take inspiration and upskill yourself. And we run courses every month. These courses are free. I'll put a link in the comments. Our books are not very expensive either. But as a former product marketer, I do think the time has come for you to play a much bigger role.